My question is for Ms. Bean. If your philosophy, your way of living is day and now, my question to you is, do you have a savings account or a 401k? And if you do, how do you justify that with your beliefs? Because if you're living in the here and now, then why are you preparing for the future? That's what I want to know. Do you have savings accounts and 401k because your philosophy, your way of life is saying, I want to live in the here and now? That's my question. I mean, that's kind of silly, but
Not silly at all. I think that's a great question. And yes, I have savings accounts, I have a Roth IRA, and I have a 401k plan. And yes, I'm planning to live, hopefully, well into my 80s is what they're predicting. So yes, that's why I am saving, because I may need to live on that money until I do die.
isn't that contradictory to your beliefs?
Actually, I didn't say live for the here and now. What I said is enjoy this time, enjoy the here and now. Be in the moment, be present, in other words, and enjoy where you are now. But I don't think that eliminates looking toward the future. At least it doesn't for me. I mean, I do plan on continuing to live unless somebody here kills me.
Not everybody that believes in abortion is atheist.
I didn't say that. You're saying everybody that believes that is against abortion is a Christian or has some kind of religious belief. That's not the case. I know plenty of atheists that are against abortion. So it's not simply a theistic argument or debate. So that would be an overgeneralization, a false one, to say that everybody that's against abortion is theist or Christian.
Okay, but a lot of those that control the politics and the policy
That's
of
again
this
an
country.
overgeneralization. That's not necessarily true.
I disagree.
No, that's historically true.
I mean, we have a candidate running right now who's very strong running on that basis. I think if Rick stays home, I think he's scary. I think he's flat scary. If he was to win this nomination, what would happen in this country? Go backwards 100 years. But he's running on the platform that I'm a Christian, this is a Christian country, these are Christian morals, these are the things that need to be upheld.
That's another argument itself. I don't even want to touch on it, but I do believe a lot of founding fathers are atheists. The ones that are, it's only been within the past 60 years that our founding fathers have been accused of not being Christian. For the past, it's been taught that they were. There's lots of documents. When Washington was inaugurated, he went straight to a church afterwards to get prayed for. Then went back. They would preach to each other. Jefferson, he's the one accused most of being the least religious, which he probably was, but he wasn't a non-believer. They said that he tore out pieces of the Bible he didn't like. That wasn't the case. He cut out pieces of the Bible that weren't Christ's teachings, so he could use that as a Bible to evangelize to the Indians. It wasn't that he didn't like parts of the Bible. He actually used the Bible to evangelize. He cut out what he thought was unnecessary to talk to the Indians, and not to be used to evangelize. A lot of our founding fathers were very Christian, and to say that they weren't is again, that'll be another debate. But
well, how would you know if they were Christian?
Documents, original documents that we have.
Document says
that they wrote themselves.
How about a question?
Well, first of all, I have a little comment before I ask the question of the lady. What's your name?
Lori.
Lori. Through the last, I'll say, 12 years, and I wrote this down, so I'm going to share. I'll just how long more I just remember this. I saw a lady with cancer being healed. I saw a lady that had 7 miscarriages, babies she lost, and I saw, and then they were hand laid on these 2 ladies. They were healed. This last lady, she's my nephew's wife, and she has 7. She lost 7 babies, and now she had a baby, and last week she had a 2nd baby. Third, I saw a little boy in a church being prayed for, and had used glasses. He had those big old glasses. I was a commander in the church, and I had him for a lot of years, so it's nothing that he paid it. He paid it. And I saw a man, ironically he was a pastor. He was sick for 4 or 5 months, wouldn't walk. They laid hands on him, and he walked. And I'm talking about the lady, and a friend, my old friend, I saw her in Houston. She was from Mexico. She was in a wheelchair, real skinny. She was in her last, not days, but hours. And she was prayed for. And she left to Mexico. 2 years later, I saw her. And she said, keep praying for me. And if you call it that magical thinking or wishful thinking, I would rather believe in wishful thinking. Because this lady had cancer. It was my sister. I'd rather have the magical thinking because she's still alive. And my question is, sorry, if you're sick in bed, will you take a break for something? Will you believe in the healing? If you ever, we're all gonna be in the hospital one time. But my question to you is, if you ever come to a prayer, would you accept one?
So your question is, if I were in the hospital for whatever reason,
And somebody
and
asked you for
someone
a prayer,
offered a prayer to me,
to
would I
pray for you.
accept it?
Mhm.
That's a really good question, and I've actually been in that situation. And at the time, I was too ill to cognitively think one way or the other. But you know what? I would. Not because of me, though. Because of that person. They are getting something out of that practice of praying for me. I don't feel that I get something from it other than that person cares about me and wants to give me what they consider this gift. But I really think that it's more about them, in my case, not for everybody, more about them than it would be about me because it would make them feel better.
Well, you know what? I have several experiences where I prayed for 3 of these people that I mentioned. And it's not that I was getting something out of it. Actually, I just felt led to do that. And I thank God that I did. Because there were several times that I've been led to pray for people and they don't get healed. And it's not me. Just to clarify, it's not me. And I'm saying I am. It's His will. It's His will, but it's our duty as a believer to do that. Because it's not up to others. We're going to pray, He's going to heal. It's not that with nobody. It's up to us to obey. He's the one that does the decision. But like I said, again, to what you said, I honestly, and God knows, and I'm being honest, I don't need nothing out of it. I just feel that it's something I have to do, but nothing because I feel I'm feeling good. They have nothing to do with that. Just to clarify that.
And just a really quick question back to you. Do you think it's at all possible that the healings that you witnessed were because of medical reasons, that something healed in that person medically, scientifically in other words, that made them well again?
Well, I'm just going to do one case, and it's my sister. The doctor, after she was in the process of getting prayed for, she had left several messages in the report, in the answer machine back then. And she said she had to go to the hospital. It's not to play with. She had cancer, by the way, left side breast. And said, you need to go because it's not to play with. Either you come now and 5-6 months, you're going to be sent here. And watching the doctor was the doctor in Mexico, but she came here, double check, double opinion. And after that, she said, what the heck, she came to Houston to try to get that. But in that process, she got prayed. And then when she went to I was there with the doctor. And the doctor, she came out crying and she couldn't talk. And my niece, her daughter was right there, and she said, what's going on? Tell me something. And she couldn't talk. And I said, I'm gonna leave that name. And then the doctor comes out and she goes, I don't see what she's crying for. She don't have nothing. And then she goes to I was here with the office when she called the doctor in the back. I want you to tell me, I got the x-ray, what are you talking about? I don't see nothing. What is it? She needs to be here, gets in there. Well, I don't see nothing. Doctor, there's nothing wrong with that. I don't know what's wrong with that, doctor. You don't have nothing. This one says, medically, yes. What's wrong with it?
I believe in God, but I do not believe that He plays a role in our everyday lives, especially something, I'm not saying that's little thing, but like something as little as a medical condition. I'm not saying that we're living in your sister whatsoever, but I'm just saying that I do believe in karma, and when you feel like, oh, I'm on my last weeks or whatever, you're going to do everything possible that you know that you did something wrong, you're going to try to make it right. And if you do something good, of course something's going to get done, make good back to you. But you can't do it with the mindset of, oh, well, I did wrong, so I need to do something good so I can be better. No, you do it because you have that sense of, oh, okay, you know, that empathy. It all comes down to empathy. That's the meaning, that's all that, and that's the answer to the question he kept asking them. And it's just, like she said, the studies show that if you want something in your body bad enough, your body will do everything in its power to help you fix that. If you want to walk again and you pray and you keep praying, keep praying, you're just kind of talking to yourself. It's like I don't believe anyone, like he's listening or whatever, but he's like, okay, what do you want to do? You're out, like, you try, as your body fixing itself.
Where do you get the beliefs from? You don't believe in the Bible, but you believe in God. So you write your own book and believe what you say?
Exactly, my belief.
So it's subjective. So what makes you different than someone who wrote the Bible?
I don't write it down for some people to believe it. And say that's what you have to do. That's what you have to believe to be my religion.
But your point is you don't believe the Bible because someone wrote it, yet you believe your own stuff because you wrote it. That makes absolutely no sense.
Because I believe in what I believe, not what other people tell me to believe. I shouldn't have to study a religion to say that is what I believe. It's like if you...
So you made up your own religion? And you think that's true?
Basically. Yeah, I made my own religion because of my beliefs.
How about if we have one more question and then we'll
All right, I want to ask pretty much a general question to ask is what makes a good law versus a bad law? In the Bible, the God is very supportive of slavery. He writes out a whole system of slavery. Why is it wrong now for the United States to prohibit people from owning slaves? And for the other three payments, why is murder wrong? Why is slavery wrong? And why is driving your car or pornography right?
Okay, I was waiting for someone to bring up Old Testament theology. The Bible in the Old Testament does not condone slavery. You're theologically misinformed, and I'm not belittling you at all, but I can recommend a book by Paul Copeland called God, a Moral Monster, Making Sense of the Old Testament God. Great book, I recommend it. To answer your question, God never condoned slavery. In fact, usually when people say slavery, we think of antebellum slavery, where people were stolen from their families and forced. It was usually African Americans, but slavery was long around before that. What the Bible did have was indentured servitude, where you said, I owe you a debt, let me pay it by serving you. And the Bible says if your servant gets injured, let him go free. I believe it was 7 years that he works. If he still owes you after 7 years, let him go free. You have to treat him respectfully. He's still part of your family. When you send him away, you have to send him away with money, with a place to stay, with provision, with food. This was not antebellum slavery. This was not slavery. This was not the Bible condoning slavery. It was setting rules and standards for indentured servitude. There's a huge difference between that. A lot of the new atheists like Sam Harris and the late Christopher Hitchens, Richard Dawkins and such, they like to say the Bible condones slavery. That's not the case at all. It was indentured servitude. It was a form of paying somebody back. It was not slavery at all.
Okay, let's give our panelists a round of applause.